welcome to Hotline 21. I'm your host, Bruce Jackson, and today we've got a great guest, and we have the Alderman of the 26th Ward, Roberto Maldonado. Pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me back.
Okay, now I'm going to tell you something. I saw an ad that you did that was just incredible. Do you mind if we show it?
Sure. Thank you.
Well, we're going to show this, and we're going to talk about some great programs that the Alderman is doing in the 26th Ward about housing right after this ad. I'm just going to put this on now.
I came to Chicago from Puerto Rico with $300 and moved to Humboldt Park. The neighborhood was affordable. The 26th Ward is changing, but that doesn't mean residents have to be displaced. This is why I want to continue to fight for you. When I see my children who have grown up here with my late wife all their lives, I know the fight is worth it.
I'm Daniel Biss, and I'm proud to endorse my friend Roberto for re-election as Alderman of the 26th Ward because he's the one fighting for working families. He's fighting for a better Chicago.
I came to Chicago from Puerto Rico with $300 and moved to Humboldt Park. The neighborhood was affordable. The 26th Ward is changing, but that doesn't mean residents have to be displaced. This is why I want to continue to fight for you. When I see my children who have grown up here with my late wife all their lives, I know the fight is worth it.
I'm Daniel Biss, and I'm proud to endorse my friend Roberto for re-election as Alderman of the 26th Ward because he's the one fighting for working families. He's fighting for a better Chicago.
I came to Chicago from Puerto Rico with $300 and moved to Humboldt Park. The neighborhood.
Well, we're back, and that's a great ad, by the way.
Thank you.
I love the history behind it. You came to Chicago with just $300?
Yes, that is true.
What a success story. What a success story.
Yeah.
Now,
Thank you.
And you're continuing the success, and that's what I'm excited about, and I want to talk about that. Tell me more about and we're going to take this caller. We got a caller coming. Okay, caller, what's your statement or comment?
Yeah, my question is, I'd like to know more on what exactly are TIF funds and how they should be used.
Okay, we're going to let the Alderman take that, and then we're going to go into your housing program.
The question was about TIF. I believe the TIFs should be used for projects that otherwise could not be built without the TIF funding. That's why I support the Back to Basics ordinance sponsored by the Progressive Caucus of the City Council. And so I am. And for example, one project that I would not support is the Lincoln Yard, and I've been public about my opposition to it. But I use TIF money to support affordable housing and small businesses in my ward.
Okay, great. Thank you, caller. Now, I want you to, if you can, tell us more about your housing program and how you're going to help with affordable housing in the 26th Ward.
Well, as I said last week, we have the largest number of affordable housing in the 26th Ward among the surrounding wards. Just this past 4 years, we built 246 new affordable housing units, including a new beautiful development for our homeless youth that we just cut the ribbon a week and a half ago. And moving forward in the next 4 years, we are going to build 485 new affordable housing projects.
I'll pause you right here because I want you to continue about that. Go ahead, caller. Question or comment?
Hi, yes. My name is Carlos. I've lived in the 26th Ward my whole life, all 30 years of it, and I've seen a lot of the big changes that have happened, and I'm wondering what programs the Alderman is offering to help middle-income families. I know that he's done a lot of great things for lower-income families, but as someone in the middle class, I'd really love to be able to stay in the 26th Ward and buy a house there hopefully soon.
Thank you, caller. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things that we are doing with respect to housing, for example, is every city-owned lot in the 26th ward, we have put it aside to allow a developer to build homes for middle-class families, so that they will not pay more than between $200,000 and $247,000 for that home. Case in point, we are just about to start the second phase of that program on the 2300 block of Erie. Against political pushback by some of the new gentrifiers' neighbors, there are 7 lots on that block that we want adjacent to $1.5 million homes. We want to make sure that those city-owned lots are built with 7 homes that will be sold for $247,000.
Right there. Caller, question or comment?
And $247,000 for that home.
Caller, you're on the air. Question or
Oh,
comment?
I'm on the air. I'm sorry. It's a question and a comment. Is that okay?
Sure. Start with your question first.
I have seen so much negativity from the opposition that's running against. I wanted to know how the alderman feels about this. It's just so negative. It's just weird. I've never seen this before. And I've been a resident for 4 years. And I also want to ask, when is the opposite, or Teresa, going to come and talk to CAN TV?
Well, she won't be here. She canceled unless she can come back after the election. That she's going to have to call the station, and we'll see if we work something out with that. But you can go and answer the question.
Well, I know that negativity occurs during election, and tempers heat up. However, I think that when you lack a plan of what is it that you want to do for the people that you want to represent, and in this case, the 26th ward, all you can do is to resolve to negative attacks unfounded against the incumbent, in this case, me. My opponent has spent almost $100,000 strictly just on negative ads on TV, plus all the direct mailers that she has done that are negative. So that is for her to own, and I'm just moving forward with my positive message of what we are going to do. Although we also have come up with what others may construe as negative, but is the actual truth of what she has or has not done in the 26th ward or
Okay.
around.
Thank you, caller. And I think we have another caller on the line.
Yes, sir. I have a question for the alderman. What differentiates you from your opponents?
Thank you, caller. Do you want to take that?
Of course, what the difference between my opponent, I have 2 opponents. The difference between me and my 2 opponents is that I have lived in the ward since 1992. I have raised my 3 children. I got married in the 26th ward, a maternity BVM, with my late wife, and I have 3 beautiful underage kids, which is the light of my life. I'm not a newcomer. My main opponent, Teresa, she bought a house in December 2017. She claims to live there, but even the neighbors have testified that they, under oath, that they hardly see her. And the last time that they saw her in that house, in the ward, was back in September. So that's a big difference. And my other opponent, he told me personally that he lived on Chicago and Damon, which is in the first ward. Yet he appears to be registered in his mom's house, along with his siblings in the 26th ward. But if he's such a successful financier like he claims to be, or a developer like he claims to be, you would think that he would live by himself instead of living with his parents.
Okay, well, you have your answer, caller, and thank you for calling. Now, I want you to go back, and I want you were getting ready to leap into your affordable housing program.
Yes. I'm on I guess, the next question would be, where are they going to be developed?
Excellent.
And those 335 units of those, 485 new affordable housing, they will be built along Division Street, Paseo Boricua, future Puerto Rico town, between Western and California, and there will be 335 new units, one of which will be a beautiful a beautiful development for artists, live and work, and it will be named after my late wife. And the 150 units that we are going to meet,
I just want to pause you. Can you give us that name after your late wife and what it's going to be called?
Yes, the Nancy Y. Franco Maldonado Arts Center.
Beautiful name.
Thank you. And the last phase will be in the epicenter of Logan Square and Hermosa. There will be 150 units on Cortland and Ridgeway. So with that, I can say that we are going to find ourselves, Mr. Jackson, in the midst of an affordable housing construction boom in the next 4 years.
Now, let me ask you this. Well, I'm just going to kind of leap over because I think the affordable housing program you have is phenomenal, by the way.
Thank you.
And I want to talk about the mixed-use properties in the 26th ward and where people who own them, if they wanted to start a business, what type of programs would you offer? Would you use TIF monies to help them start a business in the mixed-use properties in the 26th ward?
Under the TIF, under any TIF district, one of the line items for under the TIF is what they call the SBIV program, and those programs are excellent for small businesses, and anybody can apply. It could be a tenant, a commercial tenant. It could be the owner, and the use of those funds must be for infrastructure.
Got it.
That once you build and improve that property, would not walk away with it should the tenant, commercial tenant, moves out. So, for example, tuck pointing, facade, and electricity, improvement of the bathrooms.
I want you to continue, but we're going to take this caller. Caller, go ahead. Statement or comment.
Hi, I wanted to ask the alderman who is his political role model and why?
I didn't quite catch that question. Say it one more time, caller.
I'm so sorry. I want to know who his political role model is and why.
Okay, his political role model and why. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got my foot wet in politics when I ran the first full 4-year term campaign for now retired Congressman Luis Gutierrez. And so he was my source of aspiration.
What a guy. What a guy.
He was my source of inspiration to someday run for office. But more than that, as I was walking the 26th ward at the time, and I saw the faces of hope and aspirations that I saw among the constituents, that really made my commitment that in the future I wanted to run for office. I did not want it to be beholden to the powers that be. I had just finished my tenure working under Harold Washington, and once he passed, I did not want to stay in government as a bureaucrat. But then I started my business. I did own a mortgage company for 25 years. And then in the midst of that, in the mid-90s, I ran for county commissioner. That was the first time that the county board seats were created by districts. So I ran in District 8, which includes 100% of the 26th ward.
Great. I want to thank the caller for calling, and what a great question you had there. Now I want to move over because we have a lot of questions here, and we have to ask this question. Property tax. Whenever the city wants to resolve a problem, they always sometime go to raising property tax, and the people have really been taxed out. Once you're in and this race is over with, will you raise or you vote to raise the property tax?
I can tell you, on record, I voted against the 4 years in a row property tax increase voted in city council. I was one of the handful members that voted against it because I knew that for the people in the 26th ward, that was I could not support such a property tax increase. I can tell you what I support. What I do support is to create a special taxing assessment district among office buildings, large office buildings with a fair market value of $150 million or more. You know why? Because the owners of those buildings, they are conglomerates. They don't have any connections with the city of Chicago, and the tenants that they have.
I really want to hear the rest of this. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Statement or comment?
Alderman, this might be the most important question you received tonight. Cubs or Sox?
Well, they got some good questions. Cubs or Sox? Thank you, caller.
I have my disclaimer. I don't know if I have any disclaimer, but being a North Sider, our entire family, we are Sox fans.
There you have it. There you have it. Great call. Now, I want you to complete that thought you had.
Well, creating this special assessment district among downtown, mostly office buildings that they have a fair market value of $150 million or more. The owners of those buildings, office buildings, they are conglomerates. They don't have any connections or interest in the city of Chicago. The tenants are super rich tenants. And so if they were to get as a pass-through an additional $10,000, $15,000 a year in property taxes, that could go way, way far. And for each dollar that we raise through that mechanism, through that special assessment district, we can take $1 off the back of the property, of the typical property mom and pop homeowner.
This is a new ideal, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Because I've never heard of this before.
Thank you.
Because this pretty much makes you a genius to come up with something like this. Because we've got a major problem.
Yes, we do.
Anytime we're trying to develop the city, they right away go to raise the taxes. And this is rather innovative. Let me ask you this next question. What are your thoughts on cannabis in your ward?
Well, I do not support cannabis. I do not support recreational marijuana, and I've been mostly influenced by my children. They have told me, "Don't you dare!" When the vote came up to decriminalize the possession of marijuana, my kids told me, "Don't you dare to vote for that."
Okay, okay. I like a man with ethics. I like a man with ethics. How would you promote minority businesses in your community?
Well, the best way, I mean, the process of
Okay, hold your thought for 1 second. Go ahead, caller. Statement or comment. You're on the air.
Okay. I love your commanders meetings. Such a great idea. Can you talk to the other aldermen so that they can do the same?
Okay.
Well, I don't know if I want to do that because that means, that they're going to have many more meetings because they all come together. All the commanders that touch the ward, my ward, they come to a meeting every month. So, and then if there are too many other meetings pulled by other aldermen, that could be a problem. Kidding aside, I have to tell you, it is a very powerful program. You know why? Because all the commanders that touch my ward, they come to this monthly meeting and listen directly from the constituents that brought to me first and during war night problems in their immediate neighborhood or on their block about public safety, and then they keep coming back, those constituents, until the commanders can say problem solved, or until the constituent claims or say problems solved. Because that is the best way when you see that those constituents stop coming to those meetings. That means that their issues were resolved.
Let me ask you this next question. Thank you, caller. How would you create jobs in your ward?
Well, there are two types of jobs. There are temporary jobs and permanent jobs. In the next 4 years, for example, in the area of construction, as I said, we're going to have a affordable housing development boom. That's going to create hundreds of jobs, temporary jobs. When it comes to permanent jobs, those 485 units, those going to be multiple buildings. That's going to create hundreds of full-time jobs. Some of them, one of them is a senior building that also takes even more staffing than the regular affordable housing developments. And so, but when it comes to business districts, I mean, I can create the environment, the conditions, and allow for the small business entrepreneurs to knock on my doors and say, look, I want to do this. And say, for example, on Division Street, from Western to California, we want to create a Latin American restaurant district and entertainment district, and all those things take years. They take years. First, when I became elected, we were in the middle of the recession. Then little by little, things got.
You know what? I got to bring you back. But they tell me to wrap it up. And what I'm going to do, if you mind, can I end with your commercial?
Sure. That would be awesome.
And I'm going to do just that right now.
And thank you so much.
I came to Chicago from Puerto Rico with $300 and moved to Humboldt Park. The neighborhood was affordable. The 26th ward is changing, but that doesn't mean residents have to be displaced. This is why I want to continue to fight for you. When I see my children who have grown up here with my late wife all their lives, I know the fight is worth it.
I'm Daniel Biss, and I'm proud to endorse my friend Roberto for re-election as alderman of the 26th ward because he's the one fighting for working families. He's fighting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.